Hi, it's Mike Murburg here again with my partner Carol Wilson, and I'd like to talk right now about, well, we do both Social Security disability and we also handle Railroad Retirement Board claims. And this may be informative to both people because there is some transferable job skills and transferable proof skills that we have to use in their Social Security cases. So in the 4,000 or so Social Security cases that we've tried or handled in the last 15 or 20 years, a lot of our railroad board people say, well, how can you use those skills as they apply to railroad board cases? And one of the major factors that where the two are in the same, literally the same, are the existence of jobs in the national economy. So why don't we talk about that a little bit and having to prove the lack of those jobs in both of those kinds of cases.
Well, what happens in a disability case, as you know, Mike, is if you're under 50, there's steps you have to go through before you can get to the place you want to be, which is where you get the benefits. And you have to prove, first of all, that there's something wrong with you that lasts 12 months or more, and that you are not able to work at any job full-time, and that you can't do what's called your past relevant job. In a railroad retirement job, that would be, you would be eligible for the non-occupational disability. So if you were, for instance, a steward in a train for 10 years, and you couldn't do that job anymore, and you're under 50, then you would have to prove that you couldn't do that job, and then you would also have to prove that you couldn't do any other work in the national economy. Now, what happens in these hearings is there's somebody called a vocational expert that appears at these hearings, and why don't you describe what they do at the hearing?
Well, a vocational expert is somebody that has to have a master's degree or better and has been involved in the vocational industry and the rehabilitation industry for a certain amount of time and be certified to give testimony. But what a vocational expert will do is go through the Dictionary of Occupational Titles and testify at your hearing whether or not there are jobs that are available to you that you can do full-time that are in significant numbers in the national economy. And that is a real important area because lay people don't really understand what levels of proficiency are, and they don't understand, same thing with medical doctors. You may be disabled, but the question is can you do the job of a surveillance system monitor if you're 50 years old or younger? And what is a surveillance system monitor? What's the skill level? What does it entail? What are the skill levels of somebody who sells tickets at a movie theater? These are all jobs that are sufficient numbers in the national economy that we have to prove that clients who are under 50 cannot do.
Right.
As a rule.
So when we talk to you about your case, we may be asking you, well, then why couldn't you sort through clothing labels?
Right.
And why couldn't you sit and look at a surveillance monitor and notify somebody if there was something wrong? We're asking you those questions not because we're trying to pick at you, but why are we asking that?
Well, because we need to know what you can and cannot do, and that's why it's important for us to have our clients fill out these residual functional capacity forms when we give it to them, because their doctor will say, well, it's ridiculous that you have to go through Social Security to get your disability. You're obviously disabled, but disability is an administrative decision made by the administration and judged based on vocational rules, not necessarily medical.
Exactly.
So if you don't meet a medical listing, it will take either one of Social Security's doctors to tell you if you equal a medical listing, or one of the medical experts who may appear at your trial. So
that's not going to likely happen. So the vocational part of the case is very important.
Yeah, it's of the utmost important, and it's important that the doctors set reasonable limitations consistent with the medical records on you in the forms that we use in particular, so that we can prove your case. All right?
Okay.
Thank you.